What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Dear Untitled podcast, episode 41. I'm your host, Nic Beardsley, and before we announce today's guest, I want to say that it has been much too long since the last podcast drop. Just about 4 years at that. Well, there have been other ventures in between with Dear Untitled, such as Unsigned Undiscovered Playlist and Dear Untitled Radio. Nothing really scratches the itch as the classic Dear Untitled podcast that was started from pretty much day one. So for now, we are back focusing once again on artists that you love and who we feel that you need to hear right away. So without further ado, today our special guest is the rock band Pistols at Dawn, based out of Atlanta, Georgia. They are currently taking the music radio charts by storm with their latest single, Bones, and before that, Not Sorry, with a handful of singles released in between. You'll hear more about that. You will hear conversation with 3 of the 4 members of the band today, Jon, Gabe, and Will. A quick backstory, I first met Jon and Gabe through their previous project, a progressive metal act based out of Miami called Luxrem. If you get a chance to spin that after hearing and listening to the latest Pistols at Dawn music, then it is absolutely worth the listen. The picture should be clear as day as to how Gabe and Jon got even into Pistols at Dawn, but then again, you'll also hear that story inside the podcast. Enough of me chatting, though. You came to hear from the band, so let's go. Sit back and enjoy the conversation with Pistols at Dawn on episode 41. Well, so the other thing I want to say that one of you joined the server and your profile picture was Adam, and it was hilarious. Is that you, Will?
That was me.
Holy, I saw it. I was like, huh. Jon must
Did you change it then once you got in here?
Yeah, I updated it.
Fantastic.
Good.
It was yeah. That was
We meme our lovable drummer.
Of course.
We love him.
Yeah. Okay, so Pistols at Dawn is, what do you a rock band. Like, I heard you guys talk about active rock genres, everything like that. And we all hate
John's
genres.
favorite word.
All the homies hate genres. All the homies hate active rock, because then you just, you're like Nickelback at that point. I love Nickelback, but no. Anyway, let's start with you guys just introducing yourselves. What's going to happen is this will be YouTube, and I'm also going to push it to podcast streaming platforms. So if people are audio only, just to recognize your voices, just go ahead and introduce yourself, what you do in the band, and we'll start with that.
Perfect. I guess I'll start. I am Jon. I am the singer for Pistols at Dawn.
I'm Gabe. Wow.
Classic.
You came here last, dude. Actually first, but you were ready last. Hi, I'm Gabe, and I play bass.
I'm Will. I play lead guitar. Well, the only guitar.
Fair enough. All right, so background for listeners, as we were discussing just before we went kind of live here with recording, I, Nick, know Jon and Gabe from their previous project, Luxrem, and we'll get into that. And Will I've just met, so really excited to talk to them regarding Pistols at Dawn, which is their current venture, with their drummer Adam, who is not on the call, but we love him anyways. So,
Beast.
you guys... Pistols at Dawn, I should say, and I know you guys are scattered around the states, but Pistols at Dawn is based out of Atlanta, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's kind
home,
of
that's the home operations.
Right. I'm gonna just dive right in here. Is there a city that you've played on tour that feels more like home?
Oh yeah.
For sure. Definitely.
Okay.
What is it for?
I'd have to say Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because we've played there multiple times, and the crowd there every time is just amazing.
Yeah.
And like, we had a bunch of people last time we played that came. We played Taste of Madison a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
And like literally over a year ago, and they still came. They were like, "Yeah, we saw you at that festival, and when we saw y'all were coming, we had to come see y'all again." It's like,
cool.
whoa! Like a year later, they still remember us. So
I think we
That's
had
really
people
cool.
from drive over from Illinois as well, just like from
Yep.
Illinois to Madison just to come see us. So, I mean, that definitely like the way that they received us, the crowd was just insane. I think that's to date still the biggest show that the four of us as a band have done. Like, I think it was like
That's
maybe
wicked.
3,000 people in the middle of Madison, Wisconsin, right in front of the Capitol building, and
First
then
second show together.
shared. Yeah, what?
That was our
Yeah, one
second
of the.
show.
That was our second show together.
Second
show.
And it was we shared the stage with Non-Point and with Taproot.
Good Lord.
And then it was a crazy event.
Man, that is it. Just I'm so absolutely proud of you guys. Just all of you, including you, Will. But like Jon and Gabe, it's like
Thank you.
this has been your dream since we met, and it's like you're doing it. You're living like the music dream, and it's only going up. So this is just exciting to finally have you guys on Dear Untitled here.
Yeah, I also think that to add on to that, Jon and I have talked how like we're metal guys, obviously, but there's just something obviously so freeing about the area where we are in rock, where like one, I don't have to walk around with an 8-string guitar playing progressive metal anymore. I could just do rock bass and have fun. It's the best. It's unreal, so much more fun. I love my other stuff because it's fun, but dude, it doesn't compare. And I'm sure Jon feels like way more free and like the swag he gets from singing our songs as opposed to just like always having to do the prog metal thing. No hate to prog metal, we love it. We're just saying it just feels more
we love it.
freeing and like.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
You don't know what, huh?
I mean, the progressive metal, it scratches an itch. It's cool. It's cool making stuff that's very deliberate and very like thought out. But there's just something raw about making something that people really like, the masses really can vibe with, and something that's, I mean, because a lot of the time prog goes down the rabbit hole and you start sacrificing good writing, the pop structure that keeps people coming back.
Yeah.
And and having stuff that's in 4/4, that's something that people can move to, that people can dance to. That's also a different thing. Like I couldn't dance on stage the way I danced like when they're playing in 7.
Right.
And like meanwhile we do a cover of Bulls on Parade, and Gabe and I have just like a little dance battle on stage like during the Pistols at the Dawn shows. So
Pistols of the Dawn, I heard that, don't worry.
Pistols of the Dawn. Sorry, I can't words today.
The mouthful. Say it 10 times fast. It's hard.
Pistols at dawn. Pistols at dawn. Pistols at dawn. Jeez.
No.
Pew, pew, pew,
Yeah,
pew, pew.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let me just go some further into influences. I think I know some of, I guess this is influences regarding Pistols at Dawn, or just musicians in general. And we'll start with you because I think I have a hunch on the other two, but off the top of your head, top 3 musical influences.
Ooh, okay, so this is for Pistols, right?
It could be any musical venture. I mean, what got you into it?
Okay, who got me into it was this guy back here, Mr. Eddie Van Halen,
Nice.
of course. That's where it all started for me with the game Guitar Hero, of all things.
The good old days.
But yeah, I mean, total inspiration on every level. Pink Floyd is a huge influence for me. And then all the guitar shred lords of the 80s, Steve Vai and all them. And then to name a few more, like Metallica and Gojira of recent, or big heavy influences.
Fire, dude.
Gojira has been getting me going recently. But yeah, it's funny because it's a wide like collection of genres all melded together, which kind of sums up Pistols in a way.
It absolutely does.
So it's funny how all that stuff can play its own way into the music we made and everything.
Yeah. Gabe?
Top 3. I'm actually gonna try to do a 3 and not name like 12 like Will. Just you tried.
Hey, look, it's your clock, man.
Well, I mean, for rock, my biggest like influence, I think earliest back is like Crush 40. They made all the original like rock music for the Sonic games.
Yeah.
And that was like the first band I ever got into. Funny enough, probably then Metallica. They were like the first, like, oh, they're real people. I went through their wiki. I learned their whole story. I was like one of those kids. I wore black shirts all the time, that kind of thing. And then probably Porter Robinson, which just made me start. He's like, electronic pop, everything. But his versatility and his creativity just kind of showed me that it doesn't matter what I make. I can do whatever I want and it'll be awesome. But I do have like this early love for rock and video game, electronic music stuff since like the video game days. So
yeah,
shout out. Yeah,
dude, that summarizes you to a T. That's
awesome.
Jon, what about you?
Well, I guess like the musical awakening came with Queen. This is one of my earliest memories is just like being in the car with my dad and Bohemian Rhapsody coming on.
Yep.
So that is definitely one of the bigger influences. Then the second awakening into heavier music that came with Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory, Meteora, like those albums were like throughout my teenage years. Then it started evolving into like a couple of heavier stuff from there. And as for the current music, the ones that are like truly free and expressing themselves, and just from vocals to music, it scratches the itch on all spectrums for me, and that's just Sleep Token, like as many of you might have surmised.
That is, I in the back of my mind, you have to be freaking out right now because they're announcing music tomorrow.
Tomorrow, it's releasing at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So they've been pilling us for a month. Like it started with a riddle. They just released a random reel on TikTok from an unverified account, and then people were like, "Oh, what's this?" Followed it to a website. What you had to go into the code of the website to find coordinates to then lead you to a map, and they went crazy on this release. They like made all the people go nuts. So for them to finally come out today and say, hey, it's gonna be tomorrow, and the reason why it's tomorrow because it's allegedly gonna be a blood moon tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
So and that ties in to the lore from their graphic novel that they just released, The Teeth of God. And I'm just like, all right, guys, like, what?
In the
this is effort.
Novel, in the graphic novel, real effort. Do we see Vessel's face? I'm kidding.
So. I don't think so.
Rated R. Okay. All right. Sleep Token. Yeah. I mean, it's honestly incredible. My one game server is exploding right now in the music channel because it's like, oh my God, Sleep Token. I'm going to be like insufferable for the next, week at least.
Yes.
It's true. It's different now because they really got that like widespread fan base after the last albums. This is the first time they're going to be around for what's coming. Have fun with that, guys, because when that happens, I've been there before. There's a lot of people who just, if it's different, get ready for the subreddits and the hate and the Facebook comments. It might get bad, guys. I'm telling you. Some people are going to eat that up. Some people are going to go hate Machine Train on this. I don't know what to say. It's going to be bad.
It's even coming from the first two albums into the newer stuff that actually really transcended them into this like mainstream realm. Like, oh my God, like Gabe loves. Should I be hating? Gabe loves Anthony Fantano, and I love that for him.
I find him funny,
but I love that for him. But his takes are hot garbage sometimes.
I think everyone collectively agrees with that. Yeah,
of course.
I mean, even a blind spot.
I have some pretty bad takes too. Yeah,
you're right.
These are so subjective.
It is.
You can't please everyone. You just can't.
No.
Everybody's gonna love what they love, and if they don't love it, they just shouldn't listen to it.
Fair.
Right. I mean, like I for a variety of reasons, obviously, but I have not really ever clicked with Dance Gavin Dance, for instance, being a scene kid, and everyone's like, oh my God, it's amazing. And granted, disregard everything recently that's come out about them, but just the musical style and obviously the different vocalists, it's like it's never clicked, so I'm like I'm just gonna stay away. And people are like, what are you doing? But meanwhile I'm over here jamming whatever, and they're like, oh, that's so bland. Okay, I'll keep my Nickelback, thanks.
Exactly.
I hear you. I've never liked Megadeth. Or it's never clicked. Like, I love a few of their songs. They're insane, but that voice just drives me insane. And I'm just like, I like Metallica. This just sounds cooler to me.
You know that's
oh
fair.
my god.
This is mine.
Oh, dude, we're gonna get all the rage bait on this interview. It's gonna
so
be
excited.
amazing.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I'm
Because
actually, that's my marketing clip right there. It's just I hate Megadeth.
Yeah, I hate Megadeth.
Okay, Megadeth, bro.
Pistols at Dawn bassist hates Megadeth. Look, my clickbait is there for 3 weeks at least, until the algorithm kicks me out.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious you bringing up Dance Gavin Dance too, because there's song I don't know if it's called Give It All, but it's been blowing up and it's hilarious, like on TikTok how it's blowing up again, and they're like pretending that Johnny Craig is not the one who sang this song, pretending that this is not from the Johnny Craig era of like Dance Gavin Dance, and it's just everyone's like pushing it out again. So I'm just like, oh, all right, we're here.
There's a lot of like, I found that there's a lot of kind of nostalgic revival. Just, I mean, that's what gets clicks with everything else online. But like, there's a lot of songs that pop in my feed of like, wait, that's not you just posting sarcastically. That's you like, there's like 100,000 people posting about this song from 2006, which like, look, I can't hate because I'm, mentally that's just where I live. But, it's one of those interesting things of like what catches, because as you three really know, I mean, working with Jon and Gabe on Luxrum, it's like you gotta kind of pop out somehow, and I think that's really a perfect transition. Which I don't know which one of you creates your social media, but it's fire. It's probably all three of you just being hilarious as usual. But that is like
madness, controlled chaos,
clicking.
It is controlled chaos,
dude. You did.
When we're on tour, we really get to like go bananas, and like I come up with an idea. I'll definitely do the things that maybe get us in trouble, and then they have great ideas all the time. They're the ones who are the most consistent, obviously, with lead solos and singing covers. It's easier for them to just be like pushing that stuff out. But when we're all together, dude, it's when we get to like.
Dude, it was the refreshing my memory when I was watching an interview, just kind of like doing prep research and everything. The one person you were like, yeah, we just shoved Gabe around on a suitcase and then he exploded, like he fell off. And it's just like
that's my favorite video ever.
I know. Simple things like that. It's just what catches in. Who knows if it's gonna go anywhere.
That started a full-on trend. Like it's still going to this day
with the explosions. Oh yeah. And we like to sprinkle it. We like to sprinkle it in there because like nowadays we'll get like a comments like, I was so ready for for something to explode, and we're like, no, we gotta keep them guessing, man.
Of course,
you gotta keep them guessing. You don't know when the explosion is coming.
Yeah.
They're more frequent on tour.
Yeah, yes. I like how nowadays, especially because of social media, like it's cool to like try really hard at something, but also really to like show your silly side and be goofy. Like I think before it was sure people liked it, but now it's like you need to be mega genuine. You need to do all this. Just try too hard, everyone's gonna be like, it's just boring.
Yeah,
people can tell when you're faking it and when you're trying to be serious. When you're not a serious person, they can really tell.
Yeah, and I think that goes for any influencer or even streamer in general. Like the reason people are popular is because some regard they are genuine, or somewhere along the line they were genuine. Let's put it that way. It's there's a persona that people follow and gun for. And that kind of, brings me in a little bit. I want to just go to kind of Jon and Gabe's brain real quick of moving from Luxrum to Pistols at Dawn, and kind of like, okay, let's frame it in a way of, if you knew what you knew today with Pistols at Dawn and kind of like some algorithms and some behind the scenes know-how and more experience, obviously, what would you tell your Luxrum selves to do other than change genres slightly?
Download TikTok and start doing all the silly dances now. If you started doing silly dances in 2019 or 2020, you have 1 million followers and you're living pretty damn well. It's embarrassing, but just do it, dude. You're going to do it in 5 years and it's going to be harder. Oh my God. If we just, people were doing it, but if we just knew how much just the consistency of like authentic, low quality content could just make you go so far, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in the end,
start filming. It's just turn the camera on, start filming the practice sessions. Don't overthink everything, and don't think that everything has to be artistic in a certain way. Like we as artists tend to get in our own ways a lot when it comes to like social media and when it comes to presenting yourself on social media, and where some things do need to have direction and an idea behind it. Others platforms like TikTok gives you the freedom to just show people a glimpse into who you are.
Yeah.
And that's really what they want to connect with. They want to see someone that is like them as well. Yeah, they want the larger than life rock star thing, but they get to experience that when they're live, because it's crazy, because even like coming from just doing stupid TikToks, and then we go halfway across the world to Germany and just someone's just like, I know TikTok, that's fun. Excited to meet you, and they're shaking, and you're just like, hey, I'm just Guy. I am man.
Yeah.
I am no one else. Like, you're awesome. Thank you so much for all the support. You know, that kind of stuff. But no, it's Gabe hit the nail on the head. Start TikTok, start pushing more out there, and not overthinking this whole thing of we need to be this, because you placing yourself into a box. That's kind of like, why?
Right,
Make yourself more accessible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's crazy when you look at how like some of the people I've never heard of that are blowing up on TikTok, all these bands and things that I'm like, oh, let me look them up now. And it's like, dude, some of these singers who blew up in the last year or two have more followers or monthly listeners than like Deadmau5.
Yeah.
And it's like he's been building up since like the 2008. He's got Grammys. You'd think eventually like these guys getting bigger, but no, some of these people just blew up and now they're living a life that you can never believe. It's insane.
Yeah.
So
it's I don't even know if I'd call it like the resurgence of the bedroom artists, but like it kind of is. I mean, it is. It's just like there's the platform. You know, the internet was the platform, and now it's back. You know.
Yes.
The technology to do everything from your home too. Like it's all, you can literally produce a Grammy-worthy album from your house now.
Oh, so real. Yeah.
I mean, it's just how far it's come.
Yeah, I mean, literally some of the stuff that we demo, or some of the tracks on the new album were just recorded in our apartments, in our bedrooms.
Yep.
Send it off the mix, and that's kind of it, you know. Technology really has come so far, but on the flip side, it does create a thing with bands that are not ready to perform in front of people yet. And I won't name names, but we've played with like people where it's just like, we hear the music, we love the music, I'm excited to see them live, and then I see them live and I'm like, wow, this is the most boring thing ever. Like, what? And it's just because they haven't sharpened their iron playing the small shows to grow up. They blew up on TikTok, so they're instantly pushed in front of these bigger shows.
I see.
And it's just like they've never learned the stage presence. They've never learned that aspect of things, and people just think, oh, I'm just gonna go play, I'm gonna sing it exactly, because they sounded phenomenal.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, they sounded great.
It just was like a cool, you stood up and performed kind of feel.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's wild, and like I can't deal with that. It's so boring. Like, man, like unless you're gonna blow my mind with your play, like I've watched Between the Buried and Me, Periphery, Animals as Leaders, and you're just like, you can't stop looking away. But it's not like that. These people are playing like mainstream music. It grooves, it moves, and then like they don't do anything, and you're just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's
I just had a mini heart attack. My door opened and I'm like, I'm the only one home, and I turned around and it's my cat just like looking at me.
Mine's latched for that very reason over there.
Yes.
Yeah. Half the time I'm in here and they just like, they'll be clawing at the door and all that. Yeah. So I want to jump into Bones, which is your latest single out, and congratulate you guys on charting again. There you go. There it is.
Get it.
No.
Come on. No.
One at a time.
Doesn't work for me.
Sorry, Will.
It's got to be that Mac again.
Left out.
Yeah.
It's giving me glitches today.
Yay, Bones.
You're charting again, which like we were discussing, John, just before kind of we went live here. just about like radio and getting on radio, which is something I guess relatively new for Pistols in general, right? Like you are, I mean, the past couple singles you've started hitting, but before that, I mean, I don't know if the traction was there. I'm not that familiar up close with, you know, honestly, much before Fly and you guys joined.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no, so with the radio stuff, it's really I think it was The Truth that was our first single that went to radio. And a lot of that is it's kind of based on your team and who you have on your team and who you know. And because radio people are really, they all know each other.
It's a small world.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's such a small world, and in order to break into that realm, you need someone on your team that knows those people and that knows how to pitch to those people. Yeah. Because radio stations also have a limited amount, as we've been learning, radio stations have a limited amount of slots for new music that they can add every week. So the way that we start charting is radio stations are adding us and then are spinning us. And then it's like, I don't know the exact math behind it, but it's the ratio between the number of ads and the number of spins that you have in a week, which then translates to where you chart on the radios.
Okay.
So it's often a team. It's having someone on your team that really knows the ropes and knows how that works. And that's kind of the first time we went to one of these radio conferences was just essentially a showcase where you play in front of all these radio hosts and you play in front of these people. That kind of, it dawned on me. I'm like, wow, if you're a young band, you really don't notice. You will never notice until you bridge that gap and you get to a manager.
Until someone puts you on that stage. Yeah,
exactly. Until someone puts you on that stage, and there's many bands that have massive amounts of streams that don't even go to radio. Yeah, which is something that we've been noticing. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's like another avenue. So I think there's so many different routes that you can take based on your popularity in whatever area it is. Yeah. If you do great with radio, great. If you do great with streams, great. If you do great with TikTok, great. Yeah, you know, it's like there's all these different little routes you can take.
It's nice to know that those exist though, because like I feel like there was, you know, when Spotify was like kind of first out, it's like, well, how many streams do you have? Sure, radio was still a little more prominent, but like again, it's who you know. But it was like, oh well, how many listeners do you have? How many streams do you have? Like, you know, you're not legit. Get out of here. So yeah, I've been requesting to get you guys on local here, and it's just like, man, I really gotta like know a guy, because it's like every day, just like, come on, put on Pistols at Dawn, man. Z-Rock, come on, let's do it.
Let's go, Z-Rock.
I'm gonna tag them in this. Like, come on,
do
cool
it.
Guys. Okay, so Not Sorry has absolutely been an earworm for me. It's just like ridiculous because I find myself just humming it all the time. So back to kind of like the thought of like, hey, here's that chorus that people can just keep coming back to. Yeah. See, John's already like, you're all humming it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so let's see, how do I even transition to this? I haven't podcasted it in a long minute. So I'm, you know, getting back into the groove of things here. So with upcoming music, Not Sorry, Bones, and is there anything else before that's going to be on a new compilation, I call it? Or are we allowed to reveal that?
Yes.
So we've done Not Sorry, Bones, Obsession, and You Forever in the last couple of months.
Right. Obsession.
Not Sorry and Bones were the ones that actually went to radio. Obsession and You Forever, those were just releases that are part of our release cycle. And we did record a giant body of music last year when we went to LA. We worked with some pretty cool producers and an amazing songwriter that just like helped pull all the creativity out of us and helped like kind of helped each of us put our stamp on the music in our own way and play to our strengths.
Yeah.
Because we had a preconceived notion of what the music needed to sound like before. Because we wrote an entire album and it was gonna be essentially Ascension Part 2. So Ascension is like the previous album that we released. It was just gonna be more of that very like 2000s grungy sound.
It's like heavier,
post grunge,
and with Jon at the helm with another. Yeah, we were like ready to go in. We had this whole idea.
And then we go out there.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
There's some sick songs in there.
There are some sick songs in there, but then we go out to LA, and our manager at the time just says, "No, go blank slate. They're gonna guide you. This is how you're gonna get the full experience out of it." So we did, and Adam, in very Adam fashion, when we were asked, "What do you guys have in mind?" See, Adam is the one that spearheads a lot because he says the things that we can't say. Because he has the stones to be able to say it. These guys ask us, "What do you have in mind?" And Adam just looks them straight face and says, "We want to be the biggest band in the world." And Gabe, Will, and I are just like, "Oh no!"
Look,
no. He did not just say that to these guys out here in LA. Please, God.
I feel like you gotta throw your weight around to get in this industry, right?
Yes, you do. Because these guys looked at each other. They looked at us. They're like, "Okay. But we're gonna have to play to each of your strengths." I mean, Jon has like a vocal range that transcends just rock. You can go and you can hit those poppy melodies and those poppy lines. We gotta play into that. Will is an exceptional guitarist, like a genius in his own right. And
so
then
real.
we have to play into that. Gabe is able to come up with like things beyond just like what a regular bassist does, because Gabe plays guitar as well, and Gabe has a very creative mind when it comes to song structures, production, and writing in itself. And and Adam is one of the hardest hitters I've ever seen play the drums before. My God, like I was in the studio with him tracking, like kind of filming him for content, and I see this guy wind up like, I'm like, oh no, my eardrums are about to blow.
Brother goes to the gym.
So everything together kind of made the album that we wrote out there, and it's truly like for the three of us, at least, I think for Adam as well, it was the most fulfilled that we felt as musicians, as writers, as anything music related. And it kind of reinforced like that this album is going to be a new iteration of Pistols at Dawn, the final iteration of Pistols at Dawn. And it just has pieces of each of us.
Sure.
And because we've never written stuff like this before ever. Like, again, we came from prog, like metal, obviously. Like, Will had I don't think you've ever written an album like that ever, really. You not even like in general an album. You've written your own stuff and stuff with like some stuff with Ascension, I guess. Not even, right?
No, I didn't do anything with Ascension.
Exactly.
It was really just that first kind of like previous, like, our like Ascension 2.
Yeah, we worked.
That was kind of my first time, like being like, all right, let me write some songs,
Wow, so Will's just he's, bandwagon. He's just on for the ride.
True.
But he plays. Man.
What a smoocher.
Wow, Will, that actually surprised me. I didn't realize you didn't necessarily go back that far with Pistols. That's cool.
No, I joined after Ascension and everything. I mean, I've only been in, I want to say 2 3/4 of a year. So we're getting close to 3.
Wow. Okay.
And so, but yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of it, like, I mean, when I joined, that was when the band first started playing live shows. The old iteration of the band.
Yeah.
So like Ascension had just dropped, and then we went out. We did a few tours and stuff. But I mean, it was only after the second tour we did, the Jon and Gabe, they got the call.
Really?
Came in. Yeah, literally.
Swinging.
It would be 2 years in July.
Lucky Bastard got to go on tour with Alter Bridge.
That was my first tour ever.
And Wolfgang Van Halen.
That's insane.
First tour ever. It was crazy.
Yeah.
My God.
I didn't mean to get off topic there, but
no. That's what that's what we're going for.
Kind of going based off what Jon said too about us going out there and playing to these different strengths to write these new songs and in a different way, in a different format. These producers we worked with, Jason Mader and Ray Garrison, and the writer Seth Rieger, all three of them, like, they brought out this magic from us that we didn't even know we had.
Right.
And from the four of us, because we all played to our strengths, but we didn't know what that sounded like yet.
Yeah.
And so they were able to pull us in and really make that happen. And so that was really cool.
I mean, obviously,
in the world to those guys.
Yeah, I'm a huge EDM guy, obviously, and I love atmospheric electronic drums, and I love big heavy synths, different things like that added on. And that was never gonna be a thing we were gonna do in our previous iteration. But when this guys are biggest band in the world, man, you got to have all this production and things to it. You need to have backing tracks. And Adam's like, all right, then let's go. And we're like, wait, really? So as we're adding electronic drums and trap hats and different synths behind things, I'm sitting here like, oh, this is it. There was a feeling of oh, I didn't know we could write this. I didn't know this was allowed, I've always written prog and then my electronic stuff on the side. I've never really mixed them in a place where it meets in the middle and it's fun. And I'm sure we all loved it. That was so fun to all of us just be dancing around the studio, dancing to the structure of Not Sorry as it's coming along, and we're like, oh, this is lit. This is what's up.
I had almost completely forgotten that when y'all joined that we had this no track, we're 100% authentic rock and roll. Nothing can be tracked. None of this fun fancy electronic stuff. That was literally the band's the definition.
Yeah, it was part of Adam's sales pitch to me and to people. It was just so remember it was right around the take. It was right around the time that Ronnie had pulled out of shows because the laptops went missing. We capitalized on that, and we really got a lot of cred for it too.
We did.
But then I mean, you cannot compare the two different experiences.
Too good.
Actually you can. We went to the UK. We went to the UK with Fozzy for the first time, playing the old stuff, which didn't have any tracks. It was great. People loved us. We made a ton of fans.
Yeah.
We then went back when we went on tour with Des Rocks, and we did not play any of the old music. We played all the music that we had recorded in LA, and the reaction, the shift was palpable. They were just like
night and day.
Okay, that was great. The first time we saw you was great, but this is on a different planet.
Yeah.
This is and whatever it's always to the benefit of the show, to the benefit of the song, to the benefit of the performance. Whatever makes you perform your best, whatever makes you sound the best to get out there. I saw some article about Spirit Box saying, oh, people are getting tired of us sounding too perfect. I'm like, God forbid you have a good sound guy and a good show setup. What?
Dude,
I get the idea. Yeah.
Go ahead.
But I get the idea that maybe in recording, there are some people who purposely maybe aren't pristine, perfect production in recording to give an edge, to give a vibe. There's something about a guy who's really good at producing, but maybe he's not the best mixer, so his bass just it's a little different.
Yeah. But
live, come on, it's I don't know, it's weird.
That's cool. I always try and name drop, but way back in the early days of Dear Untitled, there was a band, and I'm blanking on their name, but they shared a name with a different band, but they were just a project, and out of Texas. And Matt Dirks, if you guys are familiar with that name, he does sound on the road for Bad Omens.
Mm-hmm.
And I interviewed him, not podcast, and I wish I did, but when they came through Philadelphia at the time, I got to go just hang out with them before one of their shows, and they opened for Cane Hill and stuff. And but now he's big time with Bad Omens. Everyone who knows Bad Omens, but shout out Matt Dirks. He's a cool guy, cool dude. But everyone just rips on him sometimes on Twitter of just his live sound, but the dude is immaculate when it comes to that type of show. I saw Bad Omens, I think, open for, it was with Spirit Box and Under Oath, when Every Time I Die dropped off that tour. It was insane. It was so good.
Yes. It sounds like it sounds like a recording when they're live, and it's really, it's live vocals.
Yeah.
It's crazy. and he brings such, like, Noah brings such energy to like that performance. So it's not just about the song. It's like it's being there, but it's being a part of it. It's being a part of something bigger. It's feeling that bass in your chest. It's feeling the people next to you all enjoying the same music. That's what live music is about.
Right.
And why would you not want something that sounds better? Why would you want pitchy vocals and like barely audible guitars? Like, why would you want that?
It's everything to the experience. I've seen
everything.
bands. Yeah, I've seen. I got to go see Shinedown. And I love Shinedown. Like, super amazing. They sound huge in the recordings and everything. Went to the show and their sound wasn't good, and I was like, no, this like ruined it for me because I was so excited to see them. And they were with Papa Roach, but Papa Roach's sound blew him out of the water.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that sucks. That's such a miss, you know?
Yeah.
Because the live sound is everything to the experience.
What happened to us, Will, when we went to go, like, you went to see Hardline, Self-Destruct, or whatever, Metallica's tour.
Yeah.
Like, and you went somewhere else. I went in Miami, and we both had the same experience that Metallica sounded amazing. Avenged Sevenfold sounded horrible. And then what was it, Volbeat?
Oh, Volbeat, yeah.
Volbeat sounded awesome.
They sounded insane.
It was for some reason, just I don't know why Avenged Sevenfold just didn't sound good, and it made me feel bad because I love Avenged Sevenfold. And then my friend went to go see them in LA in a different venue, not on that tour, and he still said it sounded whack. And I was like, damn, and that it's heartbreaking. Another thing it makes it, just to like piggyback off of that, is it's funny because the band is obviously good, like they're awesome. Sinister Gates is insane. They're good musicians. So it says a lot about how sometimes just the perception of a band could just go out the window because the sound wasn't good. And sometimes that could just sadly happen at like a festival or like a who knows what's going on. It's not your gear. Maybe you're just switching off, and it's you never know what could happen. So sometimes that's just sucks, and we can't make our minds up like immediately after a band, which sucks because when you see a band live, that's like your chance to really it's rough.
Well, I mean, that on the counterpoint, I mean, if say you're a local band and you are using some other gear or something and you have the best show of your life, you don't necessarily know what the recipe was other than like, hey, we had a great night and now we have more fans. So
true.
Can work both ways. Double-edged sword.
Yes. Yeah. For sure.
I always like to ask artists who are successful and kind of just grinding away in the industry, there's something to be said for being signed to a label, and then something to be said for getting a distro deal, and then something to be said for just doing it all yourself. I mean, you guys, as far as I'm aware, are still independent, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So is there I know you've been pushing, you've been getting on the radio, you've been basically checking the boxes and working on your gates to get to, hey, let me get in front of a label. Is that ultimately like a goal, or do you see yourselves like, hey, we're doing this right now, it's sustainable, I just maybe a label for some recognition or some added, money involved in the pot, some more guidance? Like, where do you kind of see that with Pistols right now?
So because we can do a lot of ourselves, because we can do a lot ourselves, and because the album's already recorded, the only value that a label would truly bring is that credit and that recognition. I mean, as far as anything, I think one of the biggest things that we want is more shows.
Yeah.
Those are the things that will push us further, because all the other things we are on.
You're here with the other things.
Very on lock. We're here with the other things.
Yeah.
And it's getting out there, it's playing more shows, it's doing more things. And a label would be amazing, but they would have to add kind of like the value. And I think with every band, like so many bands don't read the fine print. So many bands just lose rights to songs and lose things here and there.
Everyone's heard.
I'm not saying don't give out percentages of the songs or anything, because ultimately the song doesn't make money unless you are recognized and known.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the more you can do yourself, which you're going to have to do anyway when you're with a label, you're just going to have more pressure on top of you.
Yeah.
Anything that you can do yourself, you probably should do yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely valid. No, That's legitimate, and I think it's funny, like the do-yourself thing, because if we flash back a couple years with, you guys in Lux Room, it's just like, I encouraged you to get on TikTok, but like for a lot of bands that I talked to and worked with at that time, like I can't be the face of your band to be TikTok. And obviously, there's different pieces to that of like, if you can do that, if someone is engaged even at that level, there's a lot that can come from that and build foundation for everything else too. Yeah, it's such a strange dynamic to talk to people, be like, well, cool, I can encourage you, but you have to hit record.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to come up with everything. You have to come up with your own niche. You have to build a brand. Like even us, we're still building kind of like the brand, and both with the band page and with our own pages, because all of our faces are now like our own brand. Like everyone, we need to come up with we need to have our own authentic personalities online, and it's just finding the way to convey it that resonates with people. It's like that's the most important thing in all of this, and all the other things, all the other caveats, like they're like, oh, you shouldn't do videos longer than 10 seconds. I've seen videos with 1 million likes that are like a minute long, or like 2 minutes long even. So it's the one that conveys it's the one that conveys you the most. That'll just be the one, and that takes experimentation, takes consistency, and that's why people say to post so much. It's not because there's like a magic formula in the algorithm, but more so you can find your way to convey your message yourself.
And it's got to be done brick by brick, man. There's no other way nowadays, especially since the market is so saturated in every way. Like, if it wasn't saturated before by people who were just like going to local shows, some people just made music at home. But now anyone who makes music at home thinks, why wouldn't I just post this on TikTok and make followers like crazy? There are people before who did that with SoundCloud, and it's like, that never really went anywhere, but now it possibly can. And these guys are doing it, and people are doing it all over the place. The market is saturated. So you got to do it all the time. You got to do consistent. You can never give up. Just got to keep on doing it. So, it's wild.
Yeah. And I mean, that ties right into you guys talking so much in other interviews about authenticity and just like, hey, look, you build your foundation of this is who we are. You're open to fans. You have your personality. Exactly. Pistols is done. There you go. Free logo. But, you build from that, and then your music, your story has to match that. And I mean, I definitely feel that reflects, but I know you guys have just echoed and pounded into fans' brains of like, we just want to be authentic. We write from the heart. We write from real life experiences, which is, 100%. From the outside looking in, I think it all aligns and, is a lot of credit as to why you guys are clicking so well.
Yeah,
that's all. Thank you.
Plus, we like each other. That's so.
Will's warming up to me. I don't know.
Plays a factor.
Yeah. Okay, so I know you guys got to run here shortly.
Yes.
Question or two. So coming up, I guess, what are you allowed to share of, hey, timeline? You can just leave it at like, hey, new music this year or something, but like, what can you tease out, if anything?
I mean, what we can share is that we recorded an additional song while we were out in LA, and it has 2 firsts for us as far as our recorded music goes.
So pig squeals from you.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Bones is of course at radio, and we're gonna be pushing that for at least another while. As far as when the next drop is gonna be, I am not 100% sure myself. I think the team is kind of gonna like discuss.
We'll just say We'll say we'll definitely got something. 2 singles or so coming out, and then we'll release the whole body of work together, hopefully by the end of the 2025. That's what we've been wanting to do. We want to make sure that everyone gets the experience that we did soon. Hopefully they can hear everything. We still got a few more that people haven't heard, especially not even live, and it'll be really cool to just that in everyone's face by hopefully the end of the year.
Amen.
But we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. That's...
Also, the best way to hear all the songs that are on the album is just to come see us live, because
See us
It's
live.
true.
We've been
Really?
spoiling
Play 'em
it. We've been spoiling it since last year. It's a
I
good
was
time.
gonna say, I did hear you guys say that last European tour you just played the album front to back, and that was
Yeah, we
the
only had
show.
2 singles out of that. entire
minus 2 songs, I think.
Okay.
Minus
Minus
two.
2.
Even still, that's for the amount of work that I know all of you can write. Yeah, that's probably a lot of songs, even with minus 2.
Yeah.
It's so I just we'll have to sit down and catch up again, because my brain just goes to like, man, where does in this market, right, like we, like most people, like Jesse Cannon or something, shout out to him, he has like the 60-day release cycle, and you build off that and you push for X amount of time. But like for you guys, I feel like especially with radio, you can kind of like ride a single even longer. Like there's more of a, I don't know if it's the ripples that are just, it's being broadcast so far that like you can juice that and then juice another one and then be like, okay, here's everything, which is really cool and really accommodating for new music in between.
Yeah, 100%.
Pretty much.
That's definitely kind of been our MO. We've been pushing, like, because even when we released Obsession, it was just to get more streams going.
Of course.
And of course we wanted to release the song, but Not Sorry was at radio until when February this year, when Bones came out.
Yeah.
So now Bones is going to be the one that's on there, and we might release something else that doesn't go to radio, like in the meantime. But it's something that you keep pushing. It's like a different realm. It's kind of it's very interesting, and it's something that we are learning as well as we go on and the industry works. And of course, you have to have a good team on your side that like gives you the right direction to go. And then it's kind of like ingredients, and when making something, you need a little bit of everything in there sprinkled too.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, look, I'm not gonna hold you up any longer. I really, dude, I love you guys to death. Will, you're in the club. Congratulations.
Yay!
These guys are. I'm so proud, happy. You name it. It's just awesome to see you guys chasing this dream and doing it. And that's, I'm getting teary eyed. It's one of those things like, I love you guys to death, and you guys.
This is like so full circle for people. They don't understand.
Yeah. It's kind of unreal just to be like, cool.
And this is just the start, friend. This is just the start.
Yeah.
Man,
Amen to that.
Pistols is just going up. So
we'll do it.
Love it. Well, thank you guys. Seriously.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you for having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
Absolutely. Keep in touch, and best of luck.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Later, y'all.
Later, bro. Love you guys.
A big thank you to my friends in Pistols at Dawn. We talked about some of their social media and shenanigans that they get into over there. So please make it a point to give them a listen first of all, and then go drop them a follow on social media at Pistols at Dawn. You can find the links to their socials in the description below, or whatever platform you are currently listening to this show on. Also, if you love this show and love the chat, feel free to check out Dear Untitled and more of what we do as we pick back up. It's been a couple of years, things have happened, life has changed, getting back into the groove of things. Drop a like, subscribe, follow, rate us on your favorite podcast or video platform, however you listen. We want to hear from you. The YouTube side of the Dear Untitled podcast is a new aspect to the podcast, so bear with me for a little bit, but everyone else, audio still exists over on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcasts. Let us know who you want to see next. I already have more killer guests queued up, so stay tuned right here for more great discussions. That's all for today. Until next time, this is your host, Nic Beardsley, saying stay safe and keep rocking.